why Young Living. First thing I've got to do is a boring disclaimer, which a lot of you are involved with Young Living. I want to talk to you about something about the reasons why you've actually logged on today to learn about essential oils. And it's really about your why. Why are you interested in being a user of essential oils, you know, naturally organic, plant-based products? Or why some of you have taken it on to actually share about the products and are using them and sharing them with family and friends. Is it I teach a lot about? We don't wait to fall sick, and maybe you've come to that conclusion. There are ways that we can actually help maintain our family's high immunity levels, which is a very current topic over the last couple of months with this because of it. And maybe you also want to learn about how to detox daily, which is one of the key things that you need to do in order to stay healthy. Or maybe you've decided that you've fed up with the life stress and anxiety, and you've heard a little bit about how the oils can help you relieve that stress and help you sleep better and relax. And obviously you won't be producing these chemicals that are causing sickness in your body. And again, we'll mention a little bit more about that later. Or maybe you've tried the Atkins diet, you've tried the South Beach diet. There are ways to lose weight naturally, or again, with the help of the essential oils and certain products, we can get you on the right track. Or maybe like our family, touch wood, my wife and my two teenies, we've never been to the doctors in the last 5 years. And I take that for granted now, but it's actually quite amazing. Even during the outbreak of hand, foot and mouth here in Malaysia, my son and daughter who were at college at the time, they didn't get a day off from getting sick. Their immunity has been built up over the last few years, and unfortunately, and they weren't happy about it because they didn't get a sick note, they didn't get a day off. Their friends, their colleagues at school and college were getting the blisters and the infection, but mine did not. By the way, you don't need to take notes. If anybody sends me an email, I'll give you it later. I'm going to share the deck with you so that you can actually, if you want, you can customize it, because we all share differently. This is just the way I share with people. I've got to understand how PowerPoint works, and it's quite useful. But to be honest with you, when you share, there's only 3 things you need. One is you're passionate about essential oils. And secondly, you need a script. And of course, you need a few oils from your Premier Starter Kit. But we'll get into that later. So again, what is your why? What are you looking at? Is it you want to get rid of these chemicals out of your home? Well, as you know, Young Living's got a lot of products that we can use. I'm going to talk about these later that, come from the Thieves blend. Or maybe you're looking at it from a financial point of view. Maybe now, and a lot of people are understanding that you need some kind of side hustle. You need a backup plan. You need maybe to earn a little bit of money to keep you going, to pay for your groceries and pay your mortgage. And there are ways that we can do that in Young Living if you choose to. Maybe you want to work with a team of people of like mind who, I'm a living example. My wife started this 5 years ago, and I'm so-called semi-retired, but I found my passion. I was 60 years of age 5 years ago. Didn't know what I was doing, expat in Malaysia, in a foreign country, didn't have a pension because I was overseas, and wondering what I could do with myself, what was going to get me out of bed every morning. And I stumbled across aromatherapy, studied for my certification, and got really interested into the medical side of how oils help people, and that's what I've been doing for the last couple of years. So your why may be that you want to be part of something bigger. Young Living is a movement. It's not just an essential oils company. It's a lifestyle company. As you go along, you'll become educated and learn that you can actually stop people poisoning themselves and their family. And what I mean by that is by the chemicals that we use in the home to clean, by the foods that we eat, by the toxicity in the environment. You can be part of taking people out of this lifestyle of toxicity into one of health and wellness. And now the timing has never 3 months ago, who would have dreamed that some invisible thing we call COVID-19 can lock us up in our homes and bring the whole world to a standstill? And those of us who have been a little bit fortunate, in fact, that we've always been working from home the last 5 years and sharing and doing our business from home, we've not really felt that affected because we've learned about a business that gives us this side income and gives us access to the products that can help us, more importantly, because a lot of people today, they lack the education of how to stay healthy and wealthy. And they also don't know where to get these products from. What do I eat? What do I take? What do I supplement myself? How do I build up my immunity? They don't know. And as you're seeing from the statistics, people who have compromised immune systems are the ones who are taking the brunt of this virus. The ones who've not been eating properly are the ones who've been affected. Yeah. So your why may be bigger than you think, and you'll discover what your why is. And how you can run your own business from home, set your own hours, get involved in a passion, and it may be right. Okay, I think we're good on that. So yeah, your why is why you're doing it, because that's what's going to get out of your bed, you out of bed in the future when things get a little bit tough, and you'll understand about that as we move along. But let's get into the nuts and bolts of what I share with people, and you'll all do this differently. But I start off by explaining what are essential oils. Some people have never heard of them. So basically, a definition of essential oil is it's pure. There's nothing else in it other than what comes from the plant. They're aromatic, meaning they've got a fragrance, a smell. They're volatile, meaning that they evaporate quite rapidly because they've got very, very small molecules, and they're liquids. That we know they come in a bottle, which have been extracted from specific shrubs or a flower petal, or the root of the tree, or the resin from and a good example of that would be frankincense, or it could come from the seeds. So there's very many different ways that the oils are extracted. They tend to be very complex, powerful, and highly concentrated, unlike herbs. Herbs, which are the plant material, you need a lot of those. When you cook off your herbs from your Chinese traditional medicine guy, you'll find that you need a lot of herbs, then you boil them down to make them concentrated. Well, when you buy essential oils, that's already been done for you. That's why a little goes a long, long way. For example, lavender oil, which is one of the most popular oils that is used in the world, we now know contains over 200 active ingredients. And that's why lavender, and I'll talk about it later, is called the universal oil. It's like the Swiss Army knife of oils. If you don't have any other oil, at some level, if you have a headache or a cut or whatever, use lavender, and because of the number of ingredients in you, at some level, it will help you. So just an example of concentration. I challenge any of you to go into the shop or the supermarket or your Jaya or your village grocer in Malaysia, for example, and buy 75 organic lemons, because that is what is in a 15 ml bottle of oil. So if you think a 15 ml bottle of Young Living lemon oil is expensive at 53, 54 ringgit, try and make your own from 75 lemon rinds. Yeah, it's not. Rose oil, ladies, you ladies seem to like all these expensive oils, the sandalwoods, the myrrh, the rose oil. Do you know our damask rose from Bulgarian farm, it takes 2 tons of petals just to extract 1,000 ml, 1 kilo of rose oil, and you wonder why it costs $800 a bottle. It's crazy. It's so concentrated and got such a high frequency, and is there's such a shortage of it against demand, and it's very difficult to extract. That explains why it's so expensive. Now, why are therapeutic grade essential oils so essential to our health? Well, in the plant world, over millions of years, essential oils do the same job in plants as they do in our bodies. This is why you look around now and we still have forests and we still have flowers, because over time, these plants have learned to fight the environment. So they're antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, antimicrobial, antiparasitic. Anything that the environment threw at a tree or a plant or a flower over millions of years, the plants have learned how to deal with that threat. And those benefits and uses is what is in the bottle of oils that we get to apply in our bodies. And because of that, they have the ability to oxygenate our blood, which is very, very important. We'll talk about this later. And even more importantly, to cleanse our body's cell receptor sites. Now, can you imagine if you didn't shower or bathe for 10, 20, 30, 40 years? Your skin, your pores in your skin will be clogged up with all sorts of dirt and toxins and poisons. Well, guess what? Inside our bodies, if we don't clean those cells, they accumulate all the same sort of toxins and poisons, lack of oxygen, lack of nutrition, can't communicate with the cell nucleus, and that's why you become sick. In essence, we have to give our bodies an internal shower, an internal bath every day. And we're going to talk about that later. Vibration is very important. This is the essence that's in Young Living essential oils. This is what Gary Young, the founder, understood and made sure that every bottle of oil that we get has got the medicinal as well as the vibrational benefits in every bottle. That's what is key. That is what separates Young Living essential oils from any other oil company. Because when we raise our vibrational level, it's very difficult for the body to manifest illness. And we learn that at a very young age, and we understand it even as, and now as adults. When you're happy, when your life is full of vigor and you're exercising, you feel good because you're producing self-healing agents, self-healing compounds, hormones in that the brain is recognized that you've done this meditation or exercise or whatever it is and lowered your heart rate, so your vibrational energy increases and you feel good. When you're down and depressed and don't feel good and I can't afford the mortgage next month, or I don't, that's when you start producing chemicals that are not good for you. Your vibrational level drops. Your immunity drops, and then you manifest sickness. That's the whole concept of why oils are so powerful. Yeah. So essential oils that are from a therapeutic grade, meaning that they're made for medicinal purposes, not for the food and fragrance industry. They have the ability to balance us, to bring us back into this homeostatic state, as we call it, not only physically, but emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. These are the only compounds that we know that can cover off these 4 states of the body. So they're quite amazing liquids. So did you know that, as I just mentioned, 98% of all essential oils farmed, grown, are used in the fragrance flavoring industries? I mean, it was only where are we? Gary started his company 25 years ago. It's only the beginning of this century that people like Gata Fosse from France, who wrote the book on aromatherapy, understood that essential oils can heal and can maintain our wellness and health. Most of the oils that are made are adulterated. They are manipulated to a standard. For example, Wrigley's Spearmint Gum, they need the taste and fragrance to be exactly the same every single year. It doesn't matter about the quality of the crop. They will manipulate it so that every time you buy a packet of Wrigley's spearmint gum, the spearmint that they grew has been, they add synthetics to it so that the taste is a standard. Chanel number 5, they can't have a fragrance that changes, which is what happens when you have a different harvest, a different crop, because don't forget, essential oils are made from plants. The crop's different every year. Different sun, different rain, different type of soil, different time it was harvested. Yeah. So, and Stewart's peppermint, mint. Again, the peppermint they use is for flavoring. They don't care about it being for healing. They just need that peppermint to make a standard sweet that will taste the same every time you buy a packet. So where is it? What's the difference between Young Living Oils and these other companies? It's because Gary Young started his own farm 25 years ago. And since then, we are our own farms, or we're in joint venture with people who follow a certain quality system, which I'm going to talk about, called Seed to Seal. We have farms all over the world. We grow over 80 different crops. They could be in North America, in Utah, in Washington, or in Ecuador, in South America, or chamomile from my part of the world, England, yeah, or Provence, which produces the world's best lavender. Middle East, where we've got our frankincense and myrrh farms in Oman. Right down near us, we have a farm in Philippines which produces elemi, which is a similar type of oil as frankincense. The biggest ylang-ylang farm outside of the Americas is in Taiwan. So, and Australia is very famous for its melaleuca. So we have farms all over the world. So we are challenged with climate change, but we control and grow our own crops. Gary never buy from a third party or another broker because he believed that the only way to produce oils beneficial for health was if he knew exactly how the oil was distilled and what were the benefits when it went into the bottle. Yeah. So why should we care that we own our own farms? Every other oil company, they buy from brokers, from third parties. They don't even know what essential oil they're buying. They just take it and bottle it and sell it. But with Young Living, our own farms, we use the highest quality seeds. We don't use chemicals. We have the best testing in the world. Plants are harvested only when they've got the right ingredients in them for medicinal purposes. We are also a very sustainable company. For example, where we grow the trees for cedar wood, the big tree oils like cedar wood, Northern Lights black spruce, Idaho balsam fir, we're into reforestation because we want to keep the nature to produce the trees so we don't run out of the product. And also we've got a conscience. This is a company with a purpose, as we'll talk about a little bit later. We do the most rigorous testing in the world. And this is what I'm going to talk to you about, Seed to Seal. This is our guarantee of purity and quality. This is Gary Young's promise to us that every bottle of oil we use has got the best ingredients in it, the best in the world. So we use the best seed. Quite often when we buy a farm, the land is left fallow, it's left dormant for 3 or 4 years in order for the soil to recuperate, for it to become alkaline. Yeah. Then and only then do we plant the seeds. If you go to Utah, for example, you'll find huge, what we call worm beds, where they have worms, which are casting, which are processing the soil, which they put back into the land to increase the fertility of the soil. As the plants are growing, nobody is allowed on the farm or on the fields. The weeding is done by hand. In Provence, they actually have discovered that they allow sheep to roam around the fields, and these sheep, they only eat the weeds that grow. They don't touch the lavender, which is extraordinary. So they've managed to do something sustainable using sheep. And of course, the sheep are also naturally manuring the soil. So it's a circle of sustainability. chemists go into the fields to test before they even allow to harvest or take the crop from the field, to make sure that the plant has got the best and has got the right ingredients in there before they even extract the oil. And then it goes into the steam distillation process. Talk a little bit about that in a second. We have 15 different tests that the oil goes through before it is allowed to be bottled. Gas chromatography, specific gravity, contamination, refraction, all these different tests, when we've got millions and millions of dollars of worth of test equipment to make sure that the properties of the oil in the bottle are for medicinal purposes. We're not really interested in the aroma profile, the smell. The smell has not got a lot to do with the medicinal properties of an essential oil. And then and only then, maybe they will take a batch, send it to AFNO, a company in France, for third-party testing. Can you believe it? They don't even believe their own results. They send it to a third party to test the oil. And then when that's confirmed, then and only then is that batch of oil allowed to be bottled and sealed and then sent to us for distribution. Amazing the way that they test the oils. So if you come up against other essential oil companies who do not own their own farms, you can ask them some interesting questions. And I find that they can't answer them. So you could ask them, for example, okay, your essential oils in a bottle, were the seeds rigidly checked for provenance and grade before the crop was even grown? What sort of seeds were you using? Were the crops grown in controlled conditions, especially when you were seeding? You know, do you know if there's any chemical spraying or non-organic fertilizers used? You know, because today, I don't know why it is, but you've heard of Monsanto and Roundup. This is, everything is sprayed in America today, really. I mean, if you look at, they've done testing, for example, on all the oils, all the wines in the Napa Valley. Every wine that's produced in the Napa Valley, they've discovered trace in California, is sprayed with Roundup. Unfortunately, chemicals and waters from the distilling processes, which repels insects. Quite amazing. Yeah? You could also ask them, what sort of water do they use to water the plant? Because if you look on the box, your premium starter kit box, you'll see a picture of a lavender field in Utah with a lake behind it. That lake never used to be there. It was actually formed because Gary built a pipeline 6 kilometers long from the mountains to bring the spring water there, because he was not happy with the local water that was used to irrigate the essential oil crops. So they used the natural spring water, and that is now ponded, they call it. It's ponded into a lake, so they've got enough water for the 12 months of the growing season. Does any other oil company do that? I don't think so. When was your essential oil crop cut? Do they know? Because if you don't cut it at the right time, these natural enzymes and minerals produced by the plant, they won't be captured in the distillation process, right? Where is the farms that you buy your oils from? Are they next to a city? Are they next to power lines? Because they should not be. They shouldn't be near anywhere where there can be contamination. They need to be in the wilds. And you can visit any of the Young Living farms, and it's quite a drive out sometimes to get to the farms. They're way out in the wilderness, which is where Gary located them, so they're clean. Yeah. So an example, therapeutic oils. This is pre-harvest lavender farm in Utah. Isn't that spectacular? If you are not careful though, you can buy lavender oil or any other essential oil in the shops, in the supermarkets. Unfortunately, they do smell okay, but they will not, because they're either made from synthetics or they've been what's called adulterated, thinned out, so that the people who make these oils can make more profits, right? They will have very little medicinal properties. The biggest synthetic essential oil factory in the world is actually in India, in Pune. And they produce over, I think it's about 100 different essential oils. And all the essential oils, amazingly, they come in 10 ml bottles because as an aromatherapist, they send me a list. I don't buy it, but it's interesting. 10 ml of rose oil, which smells like rose, costs the same as 10 ml of lemon oil. It's amazing because they're synthetic. They're made in a factory from chemicals because they're only interested in the smell profile. They're not interested in the beneficial properties. So I don't know about you, but do you want your oil to come from here or do you want it to come from there? Just thinking, would I give that to my children if it came from there or put it on my skin? Or would I prefer it to come from a farm like that one in Utah or Provence in France? Just thinking. So this is the difference. We are producing therapeutic grade essential oils, not the oils that are used in the food and fragrance industry. They're a lower quality. They're used even in pharmaceuticals to give, this is laughable, right? To give drugs a smell and a taste so you don't mind taking them. They're used in the food industry to mask the rancid foods that were made in a factory and put on the shelves 6 to 9 months ago so that they're edible. Yeah, we're not interested in that. We're only interested in the therapeutic grade oils that we produce on the farm. So you have to be careful with other company products which tend to be diluted, and they use a product called dipropylene glycol to do this. It's colorless, it's tasteless. So I could put 5% essential oil into a bottle, top it up with dipropylene glycol, give it to you, it would smell great, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference unless you took it to a chemistry laboratory. With Young Living C2 quality guarantee, we know that we have 100%, for example, of peppermint oil from the peppermint leaf in the bottle, nothing else. Helichrysum is 100% that comes from the little flowers that they grow in Croatia in the bottle. Rose oil is 100% pure that comes from damask rose from Bulgaria, and so on. So yes, you can go and buy these cheap lavender oils, and this is why people put lavender on their skin and say, oh, it burns, it didn't help me. No, because there's hardly any essential oil in that product. It's 95% if you're lucky, 5% oil if you're lucky, 95% chemicals and thinners and stretchers, so these companies can make more money. Anyway, don't get me started. Extraction methods. So how do we make the essential oils? What happens to the crop once it's cut and it's been collected and taken to the distillery? Well, what you need to know is that Young Living, the processes that we have in place are patented. We produce over 80 single oils. Nobody in the world knows when there is the right time to harvest the crop. Nobody knows the steam temperature or the pressure level for each individual oil that we process in order to produce the therapeutic properties that go into the bottle that we buy in Young Living. It's a patented process. Gary Young was doing this all his life. He was a magician, right? Other companies are not interested in these benefits. So all that happens is that when the plant material is collected, it's then put in what we call a cooker, which is going to be a stainless steel chamber. You can see that on the right-hand side there. And then at low temperature, or it depends what temperature it be, and low pressure, we extract the steam, which pulls the essential oils out from the plant material or the resin, depending on what oil we're producing. It's then cooled very rapidly, condenses, and then collects in this collection chamber. And there you'll see that little yellow line on the left-hand side there. That is the essential oil that we use in Young Living. The floral waters, which are 95% water, 5%, that's a different product. That's what we call a hydrosol or a distillate. But some companies will sell you the floral water as though it was essential oil. Don't be fooled. Don't get fooled again. I was just listening to that song the other day, The Who, showing my age. Okay, second extraction method. And this is an exception to the steam distillation rule, because generally the definition of an essential oil is that it was extracted by steam distillation. Well, citrus fruits are not. like grapefruit, lemon, orange, bergamot. If you want to try it, take an orange or a lemon. I've got one with me. Just press it with your fingernail or a knife and smell it, because you'll have released the essence of the rind, the fruit skin, which is where the essential oils are stored in citrus fruits. Yeah. Now it's quite interesting. We've been peeling citrus fruits for all these years and throwing the rinds and skin away, when in fact we've been throwing away the most beneficial part of the fruit. So what a lot of people do now is that they will freeze citrus fruits, and then they will slice them, including the skin, and put them in their blender or their juicer, and drink it that way or eat it that way in recipes, so that they capture the essential oils that are hidden in the skin of the fruit. This is why, for example, when you go on holiday to Italy, you will get a little slice of lemon peel with your espresso, because you're expected to twist it so that the essential oil, the fragrance, is released, so you enjoy your coffee better. Martini, for you who drink, martinis, cocktails, they give you a slice of lemon, the little lemon skin, again, so that you twist it so you enjoy the essence of the lemon when you drink the alcohol. It's just just an experience. The aromatics are coming off the essential oil. Now, third, and don't get too worried about this, there are 3 oils in Young Living that we do sell that are not steam distillates, and they're not from maceration, from cold press. These are what we call absolutes, and this is Yasmin, Neroli, which comes from the bitter orange tree, and Onica, which is actually a biblical oil. You'll find it in the biblical oil kit. And the reason for this is that the petals are so delicate. If you imagine you threw the cooker, they would all compress, and the steam would not be able to get through and extract the very delicate essential oil that's hidden in the petals of the flowers. So the way that it's done, it's called effleurage. Don't get worried about it. The Egyptians developed it where they pack, and it used to be things like a duck fat or animal fat. They pack the petals into the oil. The oil is pulled out by the fat, and then they will melt the fat and extract the oil from the fat. Today we use things where we use food grade solvents and some alcohols to extract the oils from the petals. But again, if you want to get into the science of that, you can. Now, how do we actually use the essential oils? How can we apply them? Because this is what makes essential oils a powerful tool in your first aid kit. Because there are various ways in which you can get the molecules of the essential oils into your system, depending on whether you're a 3-month-old child, or whether you're a 80-year-old adult, or whether you're healthy or whether you're sick. It depends. You have choices. The first one is what we call topical, which basically is massaging the oils into your skin, so the essential oil molecules are drawn through the skin transdermally, we call it. Sometimes we will mix with a carrier oil, which is basically a fatty oil which comes from the seed of the plant. So it will come from the nut of the coconut tree. So we've got virgin coconut oil, or from pressed extra virgin olive oil, or from the palm kernel or PKO, or even from jojoba, for example. These different oils to mix with the essential oils, so it slows down the absorption, so they're not so irritating. So you can rub these oils on your skin. It can be diluted, as I say, with either, and it can be water. You can make a hydrosol. They're really good. You make your own spray by putting a few drops of essential oil into a small bottle of distilled water, and you can spray that on your skin. The water will evaporate off, and the essential oils, because they're fat solids, on into the skin. So it's really nice to have a warm compress. There's another way you can have the oils. Just a damp towel, put a few drops of oils on the damp towel. For example, if you've got back pain, that's really nice to have a warm compress on your back. Layering means that once we've applied a certain blend of oil or a single oil, then we will follow up with another oil on top. We layer it on top. So for example, if you've got what's an example? A knee joint and you've used a blend of, let's say you've put on, you could have used Panaway, or you could use, for example, a mix of wintergreen, which is a real great pain suppressant, with Copaiba, or Copaiba, which is anti-inflammatory. You've mixed those two together with some, say, virgin coconut oil, giving your knee a really good massage, and afterwards with neat peppermint, which again will drive those oils deep into the tissues of the joint, and also is a pain suppressant. It's all right. So we have layered on top of the wintergreen, the Copaiba, the peppermint. Taking a bath, right? If you take a bath and you drop some essential oils in there, don't forget, disperse the essential oils from the top of the bath, because oils are fat soluble. They float on top of the bath water. Mix it with some Epsom salts or with some milk. That will disperse the essential oils in the bath water. Then you can get in and enjoy a soak. But otherwise, if you just leave the oil floating on top of the water and you jump in and they always get into your private parts, you might find you'll be doing a little dance for a while, because they can tingle, okay? A shower, you could make yourself a nice scrub. Again, that's another way of getting the oils into your skin. You're in a bath or a shower, your pores have opened up because of the heat, so your skin is ready to suck up these essential oils. Secondly, if you don't want to do it massage-wise, then diffusing is a brilliant way of getting those in your system. You breathe through your nose, they go into your olfactory bulb at the top of your nose and into your lungs and then into your blood. So you can use a diffuser, which you will get when you become a member. You get a dewdrop or a lantern diffuser together with your premium starter kit. And the oils have different jobs. If you want to, help you sleep, then you would use a few drops of lavender in your diffuser. If you want to enhance your mood, then maybe you would try some lemon. Many ways of using a diffuser. We'll get into them a little bit later. Or you can directly inhale from the palms of your hands. My grandma used to literally force me to breathe eucalyptus from boiling water with a towel over my head, breathe in the steam into my lungs. And from now I remember, in the cold, damp winters in England, I never got sick as a child. My grandma used to know what to do. She used to give me a teaspoon of castor oil, which was horrible, right? And the steam bowl treatment with eucalyptus, and I never got sick as a kid. Amazing. Our grandparents knew what they were doing. So what's happened when what does happen when you inhale the essential? When you breathe them into your nose, because they're small molecules, they hit this olfactory bulb at the top of your nose, which is directly connected to what we call the limbic area of the brain. And this is what houses all these small glands, and these glands have got different jobs. So for example, the amygdala is the librarian. It will decide where to store a certain toxicity or memory or trauma in the body. The hypothalamus is like your hard drive. It remembers smells and experiences from many, many years ago. Yeah. The pituitary is the master gland. It's controlling all these glands in the limbic area of the brain. So this is why smell has an immediate emotional effect on you, unlike sight or touch or hearing. When you smell, sometimes immediately it triggers a memory and will take you back to your childhood. It could be a good memory, like your grandma cooking apple pie. It could be a memory where you were abused as a child, physically or mentally. But this is what is so powerful about the oils. And again, this is we get into more advanced stuff, and I'll be doing an emotional releasing class in the future. This is where the oils can clean you out emotionally. So the emotions which are running and ruining your life get expelled and get replaced with positivity, positive energy. But let's not dwell on that. So when you've got your diffuser, again, many jobs it can do. One of the main ones I'm going to mention today is eliminating bacteria, viruses, and mold spores, which come from your air conditioning, and allergens from the atmosphere. Let's say in your bedroom, you run your diffuser, let's say when you get it, fill it up to the red dot with your water, add 8 to 10 drops of Thieves Blend and let it run in the room with the doors closed, windows closed, aircon off, nobody in the room for the full 4 hours. That's how long it will run, about 4 hours when you fill your dewdrop to the red dot. Thieves, which is clove, lemon, rosemary, eucalyptus, has the ability to destroy any of these allergens, pathogens, bacteria, viruses, like pollen that comes through the window or dog hairs from outside, dust. It will kill off all these pathogens and which are causing allergies and irritation in the lungs. It will kill them off. Means you've ticked that box. If it's in your child's bedroom, you know maybe the child won't experience an allergic reaction, which may be coming from not only the atmosphere, something we're going to mention later, but also from the clothes and the sheets and blankets they're sleeping in, because you've been using chemicals which are ingrained in the child's clothes and in their bed sheets, and they're breathing them in and they're absorbing them through their skin. These are these nasty chemicals you find in these branded products that you're using in your washing machine, your water softener, your whiteners, whatever they're called. These are toxic chemicals which have been rebranded, repackaged, and sold to us as something good, when in fact they're slowly making us sick. That's another story. We have oils that can strengthen our immune system that you can, for example, diffuse. Reduce tension and stress. Ylang ylang and lavender is great for reducing tension and stress and will help you sleep. You only need to diffuse the oil for half an hour before you go to bed. The molecules are in the atmosphere. You will breathe those in. It will help you relax and you'll go to sleep more easily. If you want to help your children with their memory and attention when they're doing their homework, diffuse a couple of drops of peppermint, which oxygenates the brain, brings them alive, focuses their attention. Yeah. So any things you can do with the diffuser, it's a fantastic tool when you get it and buy it. Now, last but not least, and this is a little bit controversial, it's not the last one, but it gets more controversial, is ingesting the oils. A lot of people are scared, frightened of drinking essential oils. Well, you need to know what you're doing. Some oils are very irritating. Clove, for example, you put a drop on your gums if you've got toothache, and it numbs your gums in your mouth. It's meant to. It gets rid of the pain. Other oils like cardamom or ginger, black pepper can be irritating to the stomach lining. So you need to capsulate those if you want to take those oils, yeah, so that they don't irritate your stomach lining. Protects the stomach and your buccal cavity and any membranes in the trachea. For children, certain oils you can put into a glass of water or milk or juice, and you can, like lemon oil, it's really good for detoxing. You can use that. I find it quite strange that when I ask people to drink lemon oil, for example, in water to detox, they get very scared. But if I put a couple of drops into a capsule, they'll happily take the capsule every morning. Why? Because they're used to taking what the doctor gives them, right? So taking the capsule is okay. But a couple of drops in water, lemon oil in water, oh, I don't know about that. Yeah. So just use your common sense. We're going to talk about safety protocols a little bit later. Now, last but not least, and this is for your more advanced aromatherapy protocols, these are what we call retention. And these are enemas. We can put essential oils in suppositories or on tampons. This is, for example, for very, very serious cases, for example, where maybe you're trying to help with the candida or cancer, the colon, etc., or even the lungs. Sometimes, because of the blood capillary system, the quickest way to the lungs is through the anal canal, believe it or not. Not necessarily putting the oils directly on the chest, even though that's more preferable. So retention is something for more advanced skills, but again, it's just worth mentioning. So there's 4 main ways in which you can get the oils into the system. So this is what you would get if you join up as an account holder. You get a whole tray of oils, 5 blends, 5 essential oils. There's a spearmint in there for you to try with a roller ball. You've got some Ninja Red, which is a fabulous drink, antioxidant drink, gets rid of all the free radicals in your blood. that cleans you up. And of course, you've got your diffuser. So let me mention a few of the oils that the benefits of the oils in the kit that you can use. Hang on, somebody's trying to get hold of me. I'll answer questions at the end if you don't mind. That's Oscar there. Let me answer it. I will answer that later. Carrying on. So let's get on to the oils. Lavender is obviously the one I mentioned earlier, is the most popular in the world. Now you have to be careful when with Young Living, we have no problem. We have our own farms in Provence in France and in Utah, in North America. There is another oil plant called lavandin. Now lavandin is not lavender, it's a subspecies of lavender. Food into buying lavandin. Lavandin is not really medicinal. It's an oil that is grown for the food and fragrance industry that smells like lavender. But therapeutic grade Young Living lavender has a whole host of benefits. It's not a one-trick pony. There's a list here of what it can help you with. So if you've got a cut, you can use lavender. If you get a burn, you can get lavender. And that's really where the science of aromatherapy started, when the Gattefossé was in his laboratory, and his arm caught fire with a gaseous material that they were testing in the lab, and he was looking for somewhere to plunge his arm to put out the fire, and he thought it was a tub of water. Well, it wasn't. It was actually, he dosed his arm into lavender oil, which his students were looking at, and he found out after a couple of days his arm, there was no burns. The arm was healing, and this is where the science of aromatherapy started. So lavender is a really good oil. It will help you relax, and as I mentioned earlier, help you sleep. It's good for stopping bleeding. If you get a bloody nose, put some lavender at the top of your nose. It will help the bleeding stop. So again, you can dilute it if you wish with a carrier oil, or use it when you're having a bath, or just diffusing it in the room. Now, frankincense, another oil that's in the kit, and that's quite amazing because frankincense is an expensive oil. Frankincense has many, many uses, but the first thing you need to understand with frankincense, if you add frankincense to any other essential oil or to any other blend, for some reason it enhances the power, the efficacy we call it, of that blend or that oil. It's a synergy that happens chemically. We don't totally understand it, but it's why frankincense is such a powerful essential oil. We all know it's highly anti-inflammatory. You ladies love using it on your skin because it cleanses the skin. It will eject the poisons out before, and then you can start regenerating new skin, which gives you that radiance and that beauty. In the Bible, we know the fact that the three wise men, they took this to the baby Jesus, again, because in those days, it was understood these oils like frankincense and myrrh, they didn't know the science then, but they knew these oils, if they were placed on the umbilical cord, it stopped infection. Mother Mary probably used to rub frankincense on her stomach, and it got rid of the wrinkles and tightened up her skin after the childbirth. So frankincense is a really, really powerful oil. Now, again, let's stay above the line. I don't want to get too involved with the medical treatment. So it's good for blisters, insect bites, headaches, increases the efficacy of other oils. Purification, another oil blend on its own in the box. Open the box, use the oil. It can be used to get rid of a lot of smells. If you've left some fish to rot in a car boot, for example, you could put purification there and we'll get rid of that smell. If you've got paint, you've just painted your house, it will get rid of the smell in the atmosphere if you diffuse impurity. Really, really good. Also good in your laundry. It will help to freshen up your clothes and your blankets and kill off these germs, etc. Because as you see the ingredients there in the blend, you've got citronella, rosemary, lemongrass, melaleuca, which is tea tree, lavandin. Again, lavandin here is used in terms of a purifier, and myrtle oil. Myrtle oil is really good for as an antiseptic. Now, peppermint. Peppermint is a brilliant oil. Peppermint not only helps by oxygenating the brain, I mentioned it earlier. So you could put a drop of peppermint and a drop of marjoram if you happen to get nausea or migraine, and put it on the top of your buccal cavity inside your mouth. Press it to the roof of your mouth, and the peppermint is a pain suppressant. Marjoram relaxes the muscles, so again it will help with headaches and nausea. If you've got a stomach upset, a drop of peppermint in warm water, you drink that, it will settle the stomach. Yeah, it's also really good as a pain suppressant. We mentioned it earlier. For some reason, it has the ability to trick the brain. So if you've got an itch, like if you've got eczema, you put peppermint on the skin there, the itch seems to go away, because even though it's still itching, the brain has been told it's not. If you put a drop of peppermint in if you're very hot and sweaty on the back of your neck stem, it will cool you down. It's like a mini air conditioner. The reverse is true if you're in a very cold environment. It warms you up. I mean, for example, myself and Sika, we went off to Ecuador a year or two ago on one of the Young Living trips, and we took peppermint and cedarwood with us as brain oxygenators. And using that, we were fine. We landed, we didn't acclimatize, we landed at 12,000 feet. Everybody else was, we were fine. We were giving out peppermint and cedarwood because our brain was being oxygenated. So peppermint's got a lot of fixes. Oxygenates the brain, so it gets rid of brain fog, gets your kids being able to concentrate, gets rid of headaches and nausea and migraine. Helps with opening up the lungs. When you smell peppermint, you feel really good. Your lungs open up and it decongests and brings up the phlegm so you can spit it out. In your stomach, if you've got a dodgy stomach, it will help with indigestion and help if you've got any diarrhea issues. As I mentioned, if you've got a temperature, put a drop on the back of the neck stem, it will bring the temperature down eventually. If you've got bad breath, halitosis, just spray some peppermint in your mouth. You can use a spray that I mentioned earlier. You don't need to put neat peppermint, because it is very strong. It will help with bad breath. Now, lemon is an amazing oil, really. This is the oil you need now, because lemon oil is full of vitamin C. Our grandmother knew that. That's why she used to feed us with oranges and lemons. Our grandmas, grandmothers, they knew all about this from history. Historically, their parents would pass it on to them. So very quickly, the benefits of lemon are so many. I'm just going to run through them. They reduce inflammation. So for example, I had gout several years ago. If you've ever had gout, you can't walk. It's just so painful, right? The crystals have got inside the joints from the uric acid that you've generated in your blood. So what you need to do, instead of having blood acidity, you need alkalinity to get rid of the acidity. So if you take lemon, it has the ability to turn your blood into alkaline environment, which means the pain will go away eventually, right? You're going to have other oils for the pain on your skin, but you need to sort out your blood level, your blood level as well. So lemon's brilliant for that. Aids digestion, we've mentioned it, loosens up the toxins, helps you lose weight because it's got pectin fiber in it from the lemon. So it means you won't feel so hungry. Cleanses your system, gets rid of this toxicity. I mean, ladies, if you've got cellulite is just toxic fat. It's protecting your body. Any toxins or poisons that you've taken through food or whatever, or vaccinations, are stored in the fat, so it protects you. Because they can't be excreted, the body does not recognize these synthetic products. Lemon has the ability to flush out, get rid of these toxins, so you can burn that fat off naturally. We'll talk about that later. Lemon is used a lot in skin treatment, but be careful because lemon is phototoxic, meaning if you go into the sun, you will get red or you get blisters because of the ultraviolet light. So just be a bit careful if you're putting on your skin, you're exposing it to the sunlight. But it will whiten the skin as well. A lot of ladies use that to get rid of scars and age spots and blemishes. Vitamin C, we've already mentioned it. We need that today more than ever. Vitamin C is recognized as an immune booster, helps fight off the viruses again, which is why our grandmothers used to give us it. Lemon is also high in potassium, like ripe bananas. We need that potassium ion for good heart health, because our body is basically an electrical system. We run on ions, we run on sodium, we run on potassium. So it's good for brain and nerve function. Freshens our breath. You can put it on toothpaste and it will whiten your teeth, but be careful, because once the plaque is gone, it also can start attacking the enamel. So only use it for a couple of weeks to help whiten the teeth. Lifts up your mood, gives you that energy, that boost, ladies. If you're doing your housework in the morning and you're flagging, you feel tired, defuse some lemon, you'll feel really good. Don't drink too much coffee. Coffee's really not good for you. It's very acidic to the body. Also draws out water, throws out water into, makes you pee. So again, replace your coffee maybe with some hot lemon water. And of course, then the big one, the antiviral benefits of lemon oil. Thieves is a blend. It's also in your premium starter kit. Can't speak enough about Thieves. Thieves has generated a whole range of products for cleaning, for your laundry. It's great for building up your own immunity. Just put a couple of drops on the soles of your feet or on your spine every day. That's why my children never got that hand, foot, and mouth. Their immunity is very high. And the reason for that is like cypress. Cypress is another oil that will do this. Thieves is a blend of several oils, clove, lemon, cinnamon, eucalyptus, rosemary. We mentioned that earlier. But cypress also does the same thing. It stimulates the production of white blood cells, which is why you will have a very high immunity. If an infection comes along, you've got enough white blood cells there to fight them off. That's how it works, okay? So Thieves is a fabulous blend. We're going to talk about the other products later. So anything to do with your lungs, bronchitis, colds, flu, viral infections, mold spores from your air conditioning, dodgy throat, Thieves is fabulous. Another oil that's really good having your home first aid kit is RC, respiratory congestion it stands for. And the reason for that is it's a whole blend of different oils, 3 different eucalyptus species in there. You've got your big tree oils like spruce and pine, myrtle, which is excellent for fighting infection. A lot of professional singers, whoa, here comes the thunder, use myrtle on their throat before they go and sing. It actually helps with the voice box there, fights off any infections. So RC is really good for children. When you dilute it, if you put it on the back of their spine or on the soles of their feet, that'll help anything to do with their lungs if they've got an infection or a cough or a flu. Yeah. So RC, anything to do with the chest, look, bronchitis, pneumonia, coughs. Be careful with asthma. There is not a one fix oil for asthma. There's probably 3 different triggers for asthma. Just quickly, one is psychological, where the child feels blanketed. So they're under pressure from their parents or from the school teachers to perform. And that manifests as a difficulty in breathing. I can't do it. Too much pressure. I'm not able to do it. Or from bullying, for example, that's a psychological issue. It's a different oil requirement. Or you may get asthma from an allergen attack. You breathe in some cat hairs or dog hairs, and your lungs start closing up. You get a tightness in the chest and can't breathe properly. Different. And then you've got food allergy. You've heard about peanuts and prawns, right? People can die from them unless they have their pen with them. They can stick in their thigh, which will fight off the allergens, which is closing up their lungs and closing off the oxygen supply. So 3 different types of asthma. We can get into those, but be careful when somebody asks you for an asthma oil. It's not only RC that will help. If you've got a tightness in the chest, you can also use marjoram, for example, which is a muscle relaxant. There's different symptoms that associate with asthma. I'm coming across nearly 1 in 3 parents whose children have an allergy or an asthma attack. It's crazy what's going on out there. Panaway is a great blend they have in the kit, in your PSK or your first aid kit as we call it. Filled with wintergreen, which has got methyl salicylate in it, which is a natural analgesic. It's the compound that they extracted from wintergreen to make aspirin. But our methyl salicylate is natural. In fact, the Indians used to use wintergreen leaf to brew up black tea in Canada. in the Yukon when they were migrating. Helichrysum, a fabulous oil as well, great for any nerves, regeneration. Clove, brilliant oil, one of the highest oxygenating oils we have. We measure the oxygenation factor in oils in Troiluxes. For example, clove measures over 1 million parts for Troilux. The nearest one is 379,000, which is cedarwood. So a clove is a brilliant oil, but it's very difficult to take unless it's in a blend or in a carrier or it's capsulated to get in the system. So it's really great that it's in Panaway. If you've got any problems with pain after exercise or whatever, just put that on locally and it will really help. Spearmint is the younger sister of peppermint. It's not so aggressive. So if you've got any issues where you think there may be some issues with peppermint, then you can use spearmint instead. Peppermint's got a compounding called 1,8-cineol, which has been known to affect young children's lungs. Again, this was done on essential oils for food and fragrance. We've never had an instance of our Young Living peppermint doing that, but it's better to be safe than sorry. So for children, use spearmint instead of peppermint. And again, you can put that on the neck stem or the spine or on the soles of the feet. It'll get to the lungs eventually. That's where it's needed. And you also find that it's in other Young Living products. So we're getting towards the end. I don't know what sort of time it is. Where are we? 16:23. My goodness me. Time's flying. Some safety tips. I know you get excited when you get your PSK, your kit, and all your oils and your diffuser, but we are not doctors. And when you start with essential oils, you have to be careful how to use them. Yeah. So a few tips for you. If you know the person has got epilepsy, don't give them any oils, because there are certain essential oils that will trigger an epileptic attack or an episode. You don't want to go there. Leave that to professionals. If you're dealing with a pregnant mother or a breastfeeding mother, again, you need to make the lady aware that the oils will either pass through the placenta or the oils will get into the breast milk and can affect the child. For positive reasons, of course, but you still need that to be the mother's choice, not yours. I mean, for example, peppermint can stop or slow down lactation, whereas fennel can actually speed it up. So there are oils that are good for breastfeeding and some that are not. But again, it's up to the mother. If they're in their second or third trimester, you need to let them know that oils will pass through the placenta and will affect the child. But Gary Young, he used to slap oils on his children as soon as they were born because he trusted the oils. And we're only talking about Young Living therapeutic oils. There are oils out there on the market which are not that good. They can be actually toxic, so we have to think about safety first, all right? Again, there is some evidence that rosemary, for example, can affect people with high blood pressure. Again, never been tested, or there's never been any evidence against Young Living rosemary. It's all been about what Robert Tisserand has tested in his book, Safety Protocols for the Food and Fragrance Industry Essential Oils, which they've only tested on animals, incidentally, not on humans. So who knows? But for 25 years, we've been using Young Living rosemary and there's never been an issue, but be careful. Asthma sufferers, I mentioned asthma earlier. There are some oils that can trigger episodes, and again, there are 3 or 4 different types of asthma. Until you get more experienced, it's best to ask a professional about it. A certain number of the citrus oils are what we call phototoxic, meaning that they have what's in there. It's called furanoid, F-U-R-A-N-O-I-D-S. It's got a compound in there that reacts with the ultraviolet light from the sun. And if you're in the sunlight with your skin or on a tanning bed, it can cause skin burns or redness or tingling, so be careful. If you need to use lemon or grapefruit or whatever, just make sure that you're not being exposed to skin. You can put the oils on the base of your feet or on your spine, and you'll be good to go. They'll still get in your system. Common sense. Don't put the essential oils in your eye, in your ear, or in your private part areas, because they will tingle. There's a lot of misinformation there out on the internet. Be careful. There are some exceptions where you, for example, can rub frankincense on your palms of your hands and cup them over your eyes. Open your eyes and go spin your eyes round, up and down, left to right, and the vapors, the fumes from the frankincense will get into the muscle and the eye sockets, and it will be very therapeutic and beneficial. For your ears, if you've got an ear infection, don't put, for example, helichrysum or juniper or whatever oil you're using, or tea tree, directly into the ear canal. Just rub the outside of your ears, your flaps here, with that oil, or put it on a cotton, some cotton wool, and tape it over your ear, allowing the fumes of the oil to do the job, do the work inside the ear canal. Don't drop the oil directly into the ear canal. And of course, you don't need to, unless you know what you're doing. For example, if you're applying oil into a suppository or into a tampon, you need to know what you're doing with the oils before you insert them into your private areas. Kids are very instinctive with oils. They love the smells. They know they're good for them, but they shouldn't be drinking, 10, 15 ml out of a bottle. It will upset their stomachs. It won't kill them, but it means you will probably have to get the stomach pumped, or they're going to have a diarrhea or an uncomfortable episode for a day. It's just common sense. If you used to go to the doctors and you get 100 pills, you don't take the 100 pills all at once, do you? You take one pill at a time, or whatever's been prescribed. It's the same with a bottle of oil. In a 15 ml bottle, there's probably about 250 drops. You don't take the 250 drops all at once. You take a few drops every few hours, or 3 or 4 times a day, as per the protocol. So just use your common sense. Yeah. So in essence, that's pretty much what I would talk about in a presentation. I mean, you'll just have people only need 3 things, as I mentioned earlier. You need a script. If you need a script, you can read mine. I can send you a script in a book I did called Last to, what was it? Drink. Building organizations fast that last. If you've heard of Sarah Hanish, Sarah Hanish got to diamond by reading the same script that she'd written for herself 350 times over 2 or 3 years. That's how she got to diamond. There's a script in her book, the Game Plan book. Again, you can find them. So you can develop your own script of what you say to people. And then you share the oils with a passion and with your own story of what the oils have done for you. That's all you need to do in order to share the oils. There are books you can get on what the benefits of the oils in the PSK. If you're in my wife's organization, Alchemy, you should get the Alchemy book. Let me just, if you get this, if you're in Alchemy, you get a book, just tells you about the benefits of the different oils in the Premium Starter Kit. There's a book, it's a really good book from Life Science, LSP, 150 uses of the 10, 11 oils in the PSK. There's another oil written by some downlines called R4U, right? So there's plenty of references for you. You don't need to be scared of it. Let the books and the oils do the talking for you.